Hello, class. My name is Frank Thomas, and I'm a member of Group 8. For our project, we chose to analyze 3M as the company was talked about a lot in class and is extremely relevant in today's society. So sit back and relax. Hopefully, you all can learn a little something about the wonderful company that is 3M. So what does 3M do? Well, 3M stands for Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company. They were founded in 1902 by Danley Budd, William McGonigal, John Dwan, Herman Cable, and Henry Bryan. 3M is a huge company worth over $98.79 billion as of December 1st of this year. 3M sells and manufactures over 60,000 different products, including abrasives, adhesives, building materials, compounds, firms, lubricants, and the list continues to go on. I'm now going to pass the mic to Devin, who will discuss research development and product prototyping.
Thank you, Frank, and hello, everyone. Today I'll be discussing 3M's research and development by diving into company objectives and time and resources. From there, we'll tie in with product prototyping by reviewing company design along with product improvement. Mike Roman, CEO of 3M, has placed together priorities for the future focused around portfolio, innovation, transformation, people, and culture. These priorities are positioning 3M for long-term growth and value creation. These priorities are a key component of the 3M value model. They plan to continue actively managing their portfolio to maximize value, and the company's transformation initiative will enable greater productivity and continued margin expansion. Next slide, please. 3M has averaged an 8% increase on currency sales year on year since 2018. As for foreign currency translation, they saw an increase by 3% year on year. Both first quarter GAAP and adjusted earnings were $2.77 per share, resulting in year-on-year increase of 23% and 27% on a GAAP and adjusted basis, respectively. First quarter operating income was $2 billion with operating margins of 22.5%. So far this year, 3M has shown a 24.85% return on investment. Cash flow. 3M defines cash flow and net cash provided by operating activities less purchase of property, plant, and equipment. 3M believes that the free cash flow and free cash flow conversion are meaningful to investors as they function as useful measures of performance, and the company uses these measures as an indication of the strength of the company and its ability to generate cash. Next slide. R&D is the heartbeat of 3M. They invest about 5.9% of their sales back into the science that makes 3M strong, while other companies on average will spend close to 3%. That investment helps produce more than 3,500 patents each year and steady stream of unique products for customers. They have also rapidly expanded its R&D operations globally and now operate labs in 50 countries. Next slide, please. As you know, new products make up a large body of 3M today. They use special design teams made up of a diverse group to maximize creativity and output. The company also gives personal time to individuals to work on their own projects. Recently, 3M has been using science and technologies applied to high growth areas such as automotive electrification, advanced wound care, connected safety, biopharma, filtration, and data centers. Next slide. Through collaborative creativity, 3M designs a meaningful brand experience that enriches 3M's innovation. Their diverse design competencies help drive competitive advantage, grow business, delight the customer, and make a positive impact on our world. 3M has created a design internship program at both the undergraduate and graduate level. Some of these areas consist of graphic, VR, industrial, and UX. Next slide, please. 3M uses its resources not only to design new products, but also to better their existing ones. With a strong, innovative, and diverse culture, they have seen great success and strength within their current products. This success is largely due to the support that is provided to the employees. That support that 3M gives them employees is second to none. It should also be noted that these employees have the opportunity to apply for the Genesis Grant, which is a corporate-funded grant for an individual, group, or project. All right, I would now like to pass the mic to Juliana, who will be discussing 3M's categorization of business units, strategic importance, and sourcing.
Thank you, Devin. Brand diversity is considered a strength of 3M as a result from the importance and resources given to research and development within the company. Therefore, we recommend 3M to strategically categorize the business units depending if they have a home-based exploding status or an augmenting status. This is in order to determine if the current R&D locations are in countries that allow 3M to exploit specific geographical advantages. Similarly, we consider it crucial to adapt the business labs to the location-bound FCAs to maximize the potential of the location and the global presence while transmitting the knowledge of the non-location bound FTAs to subsidiaries and laboratories around the globe. Next slide, please. 3M could identify the strategic importance of each of the company's markets and their business units around the world. This with the objective of establish the level of competitiveness of the subsidiaries and thus identify opportunities for improvement and growth, and determine if there are certain locations that need to be closed or relocate. Next slide, please. Now, talking about sourcing, the pandemic caused by COVID-19 has brought significant challenges for 3M. In addition to dealing with fluctuations in the purchasing power of its customers, they were affected by the negative consequences of economic slowdown in the companies that are involved in the supply chain. Over the past few years, 3M has employed a global strategy that is called 3M Suppliers Management Process that has allowed the company to select its suppliers and ensure a constant recombination of information between them and all the supply chain. The last has been crucial to leverage suppliers' FCAs and thus achieve both economies of scale and economies of scope. We consider it essential to maintain this supplier management because it allows the company to have a diverse and inclusive portfolio oriented to the organic growth of both the company and the supplier in question. Secondly, 3M has been characterized by the use of Lean Six Sigma in its operations, which has been a recurrent requirement in hiring new human capital within the company. Also, they save resources for the company by not having to incur in extra cost in personal training. We consider it necessary to consider the disadvantage of the constant use of this strategy in the business units of the products that are not that significant for the company. Even if it brings high standards and high quality, it increases the product price. That causes that and prevents the company to offering low prices to the final users. Now, Connor will explain more about sourcing costs and its applicability both domestically and internationally.
Thank you, Juliana. So I'll first be talking about cost. Like mentioned earlier, 3M offers a wide range of products for customers. They take great pride in their suppliers and ensure each aligns with values set by the company. 3M has a wide and diverse supply chain, which consists of nearly 74,000 suppliers in 113 countries around the world. They spend billions of dollars each year on suppliers, but in recent years, 3M has put an emphasis on working with small, diverse businesses. In 2020, 3M spent $1.5 billion with small businesses and $234 million with diverse businesses. This accounted for nearly 25% of their total annual spending. Applicability. Digitization of the supply chain has made 3M's sourcing capabilities more efficient. For instance, 3M in the past operated a chemical plant that bought chemical feedstock from suppliers and developed a transitional adhesive. The elements were then utilized to produce many of the firm's finished products. The previous system would have incorporated a linear flow since the materials would be transported from the supplier one after the other. The current digital supply chain is focused more on network and system logic. This permits 3M to connect various points of the supplier chain and allow suppliers and internal employees to have proper data and communication outlets to be more efficient. I recommend that 3M continues to emphasize their supply chain to help with their plant optimization and in supply chain that includes upstream suppliers and downstream customers. Next slide, please. Domestic. 3M's domestic sourcing base is not as robust since the firm operates to satisfy a global market. For instance, the firm was struggling to meet the Americans' market demand for N95 respirators at the beginning of the COVID-19 pandemic. Essentially, the company sources raw material from other countries, such as China, but the pandemic has disrupted the global supply chain, enhancing lead time. In other words, a more vigorous domestic sourcing foundation may limit lead time and increase production. Next slide, please. International. 3M Company has developed more assembly lines across the globe to make sure the sourcing process is easier and has partnered with various firms that provided real-time data regarding available stock to ascertain that customer demand is met at all times. This collaboration with sourcing companies is certain that 3M could handle global demand for personal protective equipment. For instance, the firm was able to enhance the production of the N95 respirators and deliver 3 million respirators worldwide by December of 2020. Thus, international sourcing continues to assist 3M Company to stamp its authority on the global market and enhance its market presence. So I will now pass it to Frank and let him finish with our conclusion.
Thank you, Connor. I think we can all agree that 3M is a fantastic company with products all over the world. 3M is a focal point of world innovation, including reducing their carbon footprint and emissions by 50% by the year 2030 and achieving carbon neutrality by the year 2050. As Connor stated earlier, an interesting fact about 3M is they are a leader in respirator manufacturing, more specifically N95 respirators. But during the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, Donald Trump and the U.S. government invoked the Defensive Production Act to require 3M to prioritize orders from the federal government. 3M then began to import respirators from China to the United States to help with hospital shortages and imbalances in machinery. 3M is known for a great employee-employer relationship and an excellent progressive work environment. 3M also has a fantastic supply chain managing process, and it's interesting to see how 3M is able to streamline each individual supply chain based off of different geographical locations and markets. Not only is 3M doing their part to help people during the pandemic, but they have also found success in other areas, which could lead to opportunities in other markets. Thank you for taking the time to view our presentation. We hope you are able to learn a little bit about the company 3M. If you have any questions, feel free to email us or post a discussion on Blackboard. We look forward to answering any of your questions. Thank you.
Frank,